All right, so another week has gone by. Today's a Saturday. I'm going to start doing these either on a Saturday or Sunday and not restrict myself to do it on a Sunday specifically. And I can just do it based on um, how my weekend is. So today is a Saturday and I wanted to knock it out today because there's a lot of points I wanted to talk about. So let's jump right into it. Been very grateful. This morning I was very slow, very tired, but I pushed through and um, yeah, I just filmed and finished another epic YouTube video mixed with real. I'm creating these sort of hybrid edits where it's going to be a YouTube video. Then I also filmed it specifically for like a short TikTok, Instagram Reel version. Then I also, the YouTube video, I did a topic that I needed for my course. And I'm also helping a student that needed help on this topic. So I'm killing four birds with one stone. Um, so after filming that video for the last half an hour, scripting it out for another 45 minutes, uploading it, um, I'm definitely high on energy, or I've sort of pushed through that slump. So I was like, let's keep this momentum going and just jump straight into lessons. And it's also handy that I'm now doing the process of like pausing. Like I'm not going to film this for 30 minutes straight. I might pause at 5 minutes in and do my fruit acai bowl. Um, and that removing the pressure to film this for 30 minutes straight um, has made it way more sort of easier, I guess. But let's jump right into it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the microphone being in this close sort of proximity so you guys can hear my voice with much more clarity and hear the nuances in my voice. I'm very excited for these episodes to right now they're getting zero views, no one watches them. But as I become bigger, as I grow, I think these weekly episodes are going to become a grail. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like I'd love to get to a point where I have a separate channel or people just literally just chop up these specific um, lessons, each number. Because like right now we're at lesson 226. That's 226 freaking lessons, which is pretty epic. Um, yeah, let's jump into it. That being said, lesson 226. There's often times where I don't know what the answer is. And for some reason, I beat myself up and I try to find the answer. But I've been trying to remind myself that, hey, if I don't know what the best thing to do, let's just sleep on it. For example, I had a thought of like, hey, what if I just upload 2 videos per day on YouTube, short 2 to 3 minute raw videos answering students, clients, comments, questions, and just pump out a ton of ecom related videos at mass. Um, yeah. But then I was like questioning, that sort of like Q&A, sort of answering questions, like people will find these videos through SEO and searching, but it's not sort of type of videos that would organically pop up because it's applicable or anyone can get value from. And at that time, I really thought like, man, if I just do 2 videos a day, bulk upload these sort of like Q&A style videos, like my channel's going to get popping again. People are going to ask questions and the more questions I have to answer, the more videos I can upload, the more videos I can upload, the more questions I will have to answer. And this flywheel effect will kick in. But after sleeping on it and it's been 2 weeks, I'm like, maybe I should focus on quality. Because Mr. Beast talks about how if someone has a recollection that they've watched the past 5 videos of you and the past 5 videos have been amazing, they're going to click on the sixth video. Whereas if they've watched 5 videos, half of them are good, half of them are meh, they're going to be less willing to watch that new video you uploaded. And I find myself doing the same thing. It's like if Alex Omoze has been pumping out really good quality content where every single video I've watched, I've learned something. Now I'm just for some reason I now I have a bias to believe that every single video I watch of his, every new video he uploads, I'm going to learn something that I could apply to my life. So I think that's what I need to start doing. Just go quality over quantity. And I'm going to be starting this week. So let's see how it goes. Lesson 227. There's a difference in energy when you're reaching out to a friend, when you're in a place of you have a hole in your heart and you just want to fill that hole and hear a friend chat and just sort of get that hole filled, get that dopamine, get that love that you're sort of missing, versus when you reach out to a friend and you're fully content and you have no expectations. It's weird. The universe acts in weird ways where when you're calling or if you're sending a message, like it's very subtle, but it can definitely be subconsciously sensed. And I think the universe also works against you. Like if you're sort of wanting to fill a hole, the universe is going to give you a bunch of hang-ups and sort of no pickups. But when you're in a place of content, the first person you call is going to be going to answer the phone. But like I don't even like just calling people when I just like checking in on people and just like wishing them, checking in on them, seeing how they are. They just moved back to Sydney, wishing them, that they've been able to settle in and sort of sending them those message of love. And those message of love can only sort of will be best formed when I'm sort of sending out that message when I'm in a content place versus this morning where I was just feeling down. I just I was just like, ah. Like if I sent that message this morning, it would have definitely subconsciously and subtly gave off that sort of gap in my heart feeling. Lesson 228. I recently learned about the Dunning-Kruger effect, where he talks about how initially people learn a lot in a short period of time. They have a bunch of confidence. They think they know everything. As you keep learning, you start realizing you know nothing. And then you keep learning, and it slowly comes back up. And I'm just now thinking if I should be recording these on photo booth rather than Zoom. Photo booth has that issue of it cutting out though, but it's more high quality. I don't know, I'll figure it out. But back to topic. When I learned about this effect, I realized how a lot of hippies, sort of a lot of uneducated conspiratorial people, they're saying the exact same thing as my highly educated friends. And that's what makes it confusing. It's like these uneducated social media scrolling, very like easily scammed, very naive people are saying, the jab is fake and it's a bioweapon, it's not good. But then highly educated people in my network are also saying the same thing. And I think it's similar to entrepreneurship. People who are 1 year into entrepreneurship have the same amount of confidence, ego, optimism as the people that are 10 year into entrepreneurship. And it was just like this realization just opened up all these confusions because I was like, like I'm 7 years into entrepreneurship, but I'm chatting with a friend who's 1 year into entrepreneurship, and she's more optimistic, more confident, more grateful than I am right now, and I'm 7 years in. But I forget that the first year I got into entrepreneurship, I was just like her. And I wouldn't be surprised. And looking at my older mentors that are 20 years in, they're really optimistic and they don't care. So, like, there's this Dunning-Kruger effect where I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 or 3 years' time, this same friend I'm talking about, she's going to be less optimistic, in a much tougher situation, and much more worried. And the Dunning-Kruger effect just allowed me to notice this happening in all walks of life. Now I could really clock and understand what's happening and not be confused when I'm seeing an uneducated, unexperienced person saying the same thing that a highly educated person is saying. And then the in between is, people saying neither. But yeah, that is lesson 228. It's currently raining and I'm eating my sort of protein powder, yogurt, blueberry nuts, acai bowl. I'm just looking outside and yeah, like I'm in such a grateful state. I'm curious like how this happens. Like, how is it that this morning I was like completely dead and not motivated, and now I have a sense of bliss? My only answer right now is momentum. When you work, when you move, when you sort of get the engine running, once it's running, it's sort of happy again. But upon that initial start, it's going to be definitely groggy. And I don't know if there's a solution for that. Maybe I need more sleep. Definitely need to try get 9 hours of sleep instead of like 7.5. Lesson 229. I want to go over my views on God and Christianity before, during, and after reading the New Testament. So prior to reading the New Testament, I sort of believed in the universe. I believe that everything is sort of like this interconnected oneness with the universe. Now, as I was reading the New Testament, I really took it seriously. I was praying to God. I was praying for others. I was praying for my friends. I was talking and having conversations with Jesus and God every day. And during reading and during that phase of really giving Christianity a try for 30 days, 30 plus days, I felt like, wow, like there is this God that is seeing everyone, and he sees me, and he wants me to succeed, and he's looking for sort of soldiers that are willing to listen to him. And if you are willing to listen to him and you have faith in him, he's going to sort of set you down a path where you'll have this amazing life. So that's sort of what I really believed. I really believed that there's this all-seeing God, this sort of mystical figure above us all, similar to me looking over this fish tank. And if a fish was treating the other fishes really well, I'll sort of give that specific fish some extra food. And I'll really look out for that fish. So I felt like God was that. And I sort of it was good to know that, hey, all the hard work I'm doing, there's a reason, there's a path, and it's not gone unseen. Then afterwards, sort of after taking a small break and sort of like I stopped praying, I stopped reading the New Testament, I sort of read most of it. My current views are sort of like a bit of a mesh where, I believe everything is one. I believe that us and the whole universe is interconnected. I do believe Jesus existed. He was this real guy that was freaking phenomenal. So was Moses. I do believe that you can sort of listen to the universe, listen to yourself, and the thing that you're hearing is sort of this essence of God, or this essence of the fundamentals this game, this universe, and what I'm listening to is this feeling, this power I'm feeling as I'm sort of listening to myself and listening to the universe. That thing I'm feeling, that is what God is, I believe. Um, God is this sort of this essence of life. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but that's how my views that's where I'm currently at. So yeah, that's sort of how my views on Christianity, God, um, has shifted from before, during, and after. So that's lesson 229. Lesson 230. Even though I'm a big proponent for being vulnerable, being honest and open, I've learned that it's not really worth it to try to solicit help from others when you're down, specifically as a leader. It's much better to learn how to stand up on your own. Like, for example, this morning I felt very just down and out and slow, and I was just trudging through the day. And I forced myself not to call anyone, not to reply to any messages, not to open up any messages, not to seek any external sort of help or validation or support. And I was forced to push through on my own because if I went ahead and read these other messages that I've got back and these supportive messages, or I called a friend, like this is band-aids. And on top of that, when you do call for help, not only are they my friends that are not in a similar situation, not only are they probably not in the best, I don't want to say the word, but they're probably most likely incapable of sort of helping me and sort of giving me what I need and really making me feel seen at this sort of this tough period. So not only am I not able to get the help I need, if not, it's sort of like a light band-aid, but now they subconsciously sort of will see you less of a leader and they subconsciously respect you less. Now, like, there's a difference from being open about your flaws to sort of your peers around you versus coming to your peers, asking for help as you're sort of in this down and sort of vulnerable, weak state. There's a difference between those two things. I'm all for talking, like I'm even on this, like I'm so open about my flaws and I'm so open about things I'm working on and things I'm struggling with. But it doesn't make sense for me to call one of my viewers and be like, hey, whine and talk about how tough life is. It's sort of like I wrote a metaphor. It's like a marathon runner asking for a shoulder to lean on from his marathon partner during his off day where he's just a bit slower, versus the marathon runner that picks himself up when he's down, but is the one that's helping others when they're having their off day. That's what you should aspire to be, and that's what's respected. The marathon runner that relies on his teammates when he's down and a bit slower is going to be less respected than the marathon runner that can pick himself up and push through despite being down, despite it being an off day. And on top of that, he's helping others when they need it. So that's lesson 230. Lesson 231. Recently, my mum and one of my close friends, Andrew, has been telling me to go back to university and study. And this is very good trauma exposure therapy. because that's definitely one of my biggest fears of like everything not working out, me losing out of money, having to fire all my employees, selling all my assets, and now I'm back to university studying, starting from square zero, and everyone has already gone through university 5, 6 years ago. So that's definitely a deep-seated fear that they keep pushing. But I think it's healthy. I should start seeing it in good light, but I should keep it to small amounts. Like when I hear it, let's jet. The moment I hear this, take that small sting, take it as a necessary sting, use it to motivate me to push forward, but don't expose myself to any more amounts of that because any more than that, I'll start becoming insecure and I'd be sort of working out of anxiety and not working out of enjoyment of the present. So I'm going to continue accepting and taking in these small nudges of ex trauma therapy, but I'm definitely going to run away the moment I sort of get a bit of it. Lesson 232. Man, every time I use Instagram stories, I get less happy. It's 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 weird. I think Instagram stories, it's something about it sucks your energy. There's something about watching someone live on what they're currently doing. Like when you go to a concert and you're watching an artist sing, you're giving them your energy and they're sort of absorbing it live. And by the end of the concert, you're just exhausted. Your soul is exhausted. And I think Instagram does that on bulk. When like in a span of 60 seconds, you can go through 5, 6 different people's stories, see what 5, 6 people are currently doing. Man, that's gonna suck you dry. Because when someone sends you a message and you get back to 2, 3 hours late, so you gotta like there's a bit of a delay. You're not sort of giving them your energy live, you know. And plus, through text messages, people aren't telling you and showing you what they're doing. Now, what about a Snapchat? If someone sends you like a Snapchat photo of what they're currently doing, I guess, yeah, you sort of open that at a later time as well. But then it's sort of Instagram stories is the same where you're not you but then Instagram story has this thing where it pushes news stories to the front. So you're seeing what people are doing in the last 60 minutes, in the last 5 minutes ago. Sometimes it might be like 12 hours ago. And I think those are probably less energy draining. But yeah, Instagram story is like a energy draining soul suck. So I definitely want to stop, if not like, yeah, stop. I was going to say reduce, but I need to stop using Instagram stories. Lesson 233. Oh, this has been a new thing I've implemented for the last week, and I'm very happy with it. It's better to, I've reduced my workload from 5 points worth of tasks down to 4.25 points. Now, each point roughly equates to 1 hour of concentrated work. Um, yeah, it's sort of like, for example, doing these lessons, I sort of film 30 minutes of these, and I upload, I create a thumbnail. So it's roughly maybe around 40 minutes, 45, but it's like worth 1 point because it's pretty full on. Like I'm really focused for this 30 minutes. I'm back to back. So it's worth 1 point. So that's just an example. So at 5 points, only if I performed at 100%, if not 105%, was I able to complete all 5 points worth of tasks, clear all my inboxes, clear all my Slack messages, and then clear my Instagram and then clear my SMSs and get back to people. So as a result, there were periods where it was like it took me 5 days to get back to someone because I didn't have a day of performing 100% until that fifth day. So I was like, let me decrease the workload to 4.25, sort of roughly around 80% of my max capacity, so that even if I perform at 80% and I'm sort of just cruising through the day, if I'm still quite diligent on that day, I'll be able to get back to all my friends' messages. And if I perform at 70%, 65%, because I'm just tired, I'm drained, I have no energy, and I couldn't even, like, I barely scraped through all my sort of 4.25 points worth of tasks, then I think it makes sense for me to punish myself and not reply to all the messages that I have waiting for me and wait for tomorrow. Plus, I think this may be more sustainable. We'll see. Because the previous model was crashing every 1 to 2 weeks. Um, so we'll see how this goes because earlier this Monday and Wednesday, both days were very slow days, but I did complete a decent amount of work on both days, so I can't really complain. I guess there's only been one really off day. Let's see. Today's the 22nd. On the 19th. So that was 3 days ago. That was a day where I did nothing. I survived prior to that. Yeah. So that's less than 233. Less than 234. I realized that as I'm listening to the universe and I'm sort of pivoting, I'm changing things, I just seem a bit too difficult. Like, for example, networking, putting together dinners, sort of meeting people. I was constantly faced with a bunch of rejections. The universe kept sort of knocking me back, or things such as me working sort of 5 points worth of tasks every single day, and I keep burning out every 1 or 2 weeks. And this has been a common trend for the last 6 to 7 months, and I couldn't see it till now. Um, so it's understandable. Like I'm not that good at it, but I'm getting better at listening to the universe and seeing what I need to change and pivot. And I realize that people like my dad, and I know a lot of other sort of mentors or people that I know of, they just aren't listening to the universe, no matter how well-intentioned they are. Like I thought well-intentioned people, I mean, I thought I was well-intentioned when I was working for, like doing a lot of work every day and when I was connecting and being there for others. So I think people like my dad just ain't listening to the universe. Like if you're not happy or if you're not getting the results you want and you keep doing the same thing again and again and again, it's the universe telling you again and again and again, like, hey, this is not the right path. So yeah, that's lesson 234. Lesson 235. This is an interesting point. Like I've gotten to a point where it feels like it's normal slash average to be in a relationship. Like I remember I was talking to a team member and she was like, yo, like Andy, you need to date, you need to get a girlfriend. Just because yeah, that's the norm, I guess. Like it's you have to get a girlfriend. Everyone has to have a girlfriend. Well, I guess everyone has to have kids, so I guess it makes sense. But like if you look at Elon Musk, Alexander the Great, any young up and coming entrepreneur, none of these people are in sort of typical relationships that everyone else is in. Like I feel like it's normal to be in like if I see someone that's not in a relationship, I'm like, oh, what's up with this person? But most people are in a relationship and yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have less respect for people in relationships, but like it's just more normal. Like if I meet someone and they're in a relationship, I'm like, okay, cool. There's a good chance you followed the normal route of society. But if you're not in one, I'm like, huh, what is happening here? Yeah. I don't know. I haven't thought about this enough, but I feel like if everyone is doing something if you do it as well, you're just following what everyone else is doing. But then, everyone eats food. I eat food. But I definitely eat food in a different way. Like I used to intermittent fast. I still sort of do, but now I have like a protein sort of yogurt mix for lunch. So yeah, I don't know. That is lesson 235. So we'll wrap it up for this week. I could keep going. I have a bunch of other notes, but I'll pause now. I'll keep it short. I think we'll see how these 30-minute segment goes. I don't know if I want to go back up to 45 minutes or go back up to 1 hour, but let's keep it at 30 and let's sort of follow my hypothesis of like it's better to sustainably work at 80% consistently versus trying to max myself out all the time. And I guess this philosophy aligns with that lesson I talked about today. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace.